because the Lord told him that he would come, so he knew the purpose. But it's not that Swayambhuva Muni comes and he comes direct to the point. That's not culture. There is an introduction. So we see here that Kardama Muni is welcoming the king and glorifying his activities. It's not flattering. It are all true facts. And in this verse, he's speaking, he's glorifying the Lord for maintaining the Varnashram system, makes sure that everyone does his duty. In Bhagavad Gita he said, Karmani Vatakarste Mafalesha Kadachana, that you have to do your duty without being attached to the results. So everyone should be engaged in his occupational duty, in his according to his psycho-physical nature. Then we will feel satisfied. Why is that so important? In the Bhagavad Gita, a few verses further, there Arjuna is asking a question. You speak about this transcendentalist, but how can I recognize this transcendentalist? And what Krishna says, Prajati yata kaman sarva partam anogatan atmane vatmanatushta stita prahyasta tochyate. So this verse speaks about two things, two symptoms of one who is Krishna conscious, or at least endeavoring to become Krishna conscious. That one should give up all material desires. Material desires brings us outside to this world, or this temporary world, and this enjoyment. And at the same time, Atman evatmana tushta, going inside and feeling satisfied within. But to go within, one should be undisturbed by the external. And to become undisturbed by the external, is our present society helping with that? Is our present society organized as such that it will help us to give up our material desires and act out of duty? No, it's just the opposite. Modern society is full of attractions for sense gratification, and that's the purpose of life, according to the modern philosophy, that it's not helpful at all. Advertisements, expectations, all based on the cultivation of material desires. That so how can we go inside if we are still disturbed by all these material desires? Spiritual life begins when we attain a Brahma-Bhuta platform, and that's Prashanatma. Is this society going to make you peaceful? That it's amazing how many people are these days disturbed in their mind. They have to go to psychologist or psychiatrist for help, especially during this corona crisis. It's going to extremes. But what are our anxieties? in this world. Yes, we need food, we need shelter, we need protection, that we need education. That was all automatically provided in the Varnashram system. The Brahmins would give everyone education for free, so no worry about education. And the Kshatriyas would protect everyone, so no worry about your protection. And the Vaishyas would feed everyone, no problem with your food and everything you need. That is an ideal society. And the king was responsible for maintaining this society. And therefore here it is mentioned, yes, this glorifying Swambhuva Manu for maintaining this Varnashram system. That was the duty of a Vedic king. Like Maharaj Parikshit would travel throughout this kingdom to see that everyone would doing his duty in Varnashram. Because that was the basis for a peaceful society. It brings everyone to goodness. And we need to be situated in goodness to be peaceful. And then it's much more easy to go inside. Then this disturbance of these material desires is not there anymore. That if one feels satisfied. So that was the basis of this Varnashram system. Varnashrama Vibharasa. Yeah. It's based on guna and karma. Working according to one's attraction, material attraction and capabilities. And that's the basis of our philosophy, explained in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Then, at a certain time, a devotee came to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, please, I want to please you. Tell me anything what you want me to do, and I will do it. Prabhupada replied, but what do you want to do for Krishna? And the devotee said, but Prabhupada, it doesn't matter. Just ask me what you want me to do and I will do it. Srila Prabhupada replied, try to understand our philosophy. What do you want to do for Krishna? And then the devotee said, well, he said to Prabhupada, I want to make unbreakable mridangas. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, do that. And then he made these glass fiber mridangas, which we use now all over the world. So that's important, that everyone is engaged according to his psychophysical capabilities, and then you will feel materially satisfied. Srila Prabhupada says there are two svadharmas, material and spiritual. The material svadharma is acting according to our guna and karma. And when you feel materially satisfied, then you can go inside. It's much more easier. So this is a system, this Varnashram system, is developed as such that it brings us to goodness, and it brings us to the point of facilitating the work we have to do within the ashrams, which are meant for spiritual advancement. And that's important. In that sense, it's also important in our communities here, that everyone has a service engaged according to one's guna and karma. And these gunas and karmas are mixed all, but still we have something for which we are good in. Everyone has likes and dislikes, some things you want to do, and that's mostly your capability, and you develop that, and you use it for Krishna. It does not matter what one does for Krishna, as long as it is according, of course, we should not forget the basic principles. We should please Krishna favorably, but by using our capabilities, we can please Krishna. And that's stated in Bhagavad Gita. By doing one's duty, one can attain perfection. And who is the example Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita who attained perfection by doing one's duties? It's King Janak. King Janak was the father of Sita, and who was living in Mithila 2 million years ago in Ram Lila. So it was, and Krishna is glorifying him for just by doing his duty. That's important. This understanding this aspect. When Priyavrata Maharaj, he was doing tapasya in a strict brahmachari, and he came to the point of feeling satisfied. But then he got the instruction of his grandfather, Lord Brahma, to become the emperor of the world. And Priyavrata Maharaj said to his spiritual master Narada Muni, but is that good for my spiritual life? I will have to enter Grihastha ashram and I'm now satisfied. And Narada Muni said, you just remain a brahmachari. But then Lord Brahma came down and he overruled the order of Narada Muni and said to Priyavrata, no, that you have to follow the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord gave me the instruction to populate the universe, and I gave that same in order to you. And as long as you be fixed on that order, on pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then the mode of passion and ignorance will not overpower you. You will always be protected. So we must do our duty in that sense. But we see that Srila Prabhupada addresses that point in the purport, that this system became degraded. That it started with Shringi, the son of Shamika Rishi. Shringi became proud. That we know all the story in the first canto, how he came proud and cursed, Maharaj Pariksit. So, what happens if the Brahmins loses their first quality, which is humility, and they become proud? Then the Kshatriyas are meant to follow the orders of the Brahmins. And they always follow the orders, but when they see that this Brahman thinks I'm much more than you, and they become proud, a Kshatriya cannot stand that. And he rejects the Brahmins. And that's what's happening. And when they rejected the Brahmins, they started to rule out of greed. And they start to exploit their descendants. But then the Vaishyas said, oh, wait a minute. We have the capital, we have all the wealth, and they started to rule and divide the Vaishyas by favoring one Kshatriya or another. And Srila Prabhupada said this is the beginning of capitalism. But then when the Vaishyas started to rule with their economic power, they exploited the Sudras, and the Sudras, the laborers, said, oh, wait a minute, that we will start a revolution, everyone equal, and their communism was born. So these systems today that they have are all degraded, are a result of the degradation of the Varnashram system. Varnashram system is the perfect system for society established by Lord Krishna. But then, especially in India, it started to be degraded. One was thinking, I'm a Brahman by birth and not by quality. And we see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. And Srila Prabhupada has fought against these caste Brahmins, declaring themselves Brahmins without having the qualities of a Brahman. Samad Vastapachacham Kshantyaryavam Evasha. Without having qualities in goodness. One belongs to a certain varna according to his qualities, his psychophysical nature, and not by birth. And then the caste system was born, the degraded system we know today. And what is the result? Srila Prabhupada said, chaos, no peace. Therefore, Swambhuva Manu, he knew that this was his duty to maintain it. And he was glorified for that by Kardama Muni. Every king who does this duty offers the greatest service to society. So it's not flattering. You must be a strong king to do it. Therefore, Lord Krishna wanted to rule the world not by an ordinary devotee, by a Mahabhagavat devotee. Yes, a pure devotee of the Lord. Therefore he wanted Yudhishthira Maharaj at the throne, and later Maharaj Pariksit, who were on that level. So, thank you. Any questions? Yes. Yeah, I read it also, but exactly where that, but it's an important topic. Srila Prabhupada brings that up again and again, that when he's criticizing the present society. But I don't have photographic memory of something like that. I can't remember, but Srila Prabhupada speaks about that. Yeah. Anything else? Yes.
How do we understand which gunas we are in, so that we know which is the best service for us?
Yeah, that's a good question. A very practical question. How do I understand which are my gunas, what my situation? That I said already, one thing in that direction is that everyone is good in something, and everyone likes to do certain things, and that is a strong indication of your psychophysical nature. At the same time, we can use Shastra and Bhagavad Gita and learn the symptoms of passion and ignorance. And by that we can learn to which guna we are attracted to. But we should know that these gunas of passion and ignorance, they are obstacles for us to come to goodness and transcendence. But we can use the mode of passion in the service of Krishna. The mode of ignorance, that's not possible. That's sleeping, and intoxication and so on. But the mode of passion we can use for Krishna. And Kshatriyas were in passion, and Arjuna was on that point. Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita makes the point, yes, said to Lord Krishna, I don't want to fight. I feel compassion for my relatives. I cannot do it. I cannot be the cause of their death. I want to become a beggar. And Krishna tells Arjuna further in Bhagavad Gita that everyone has to act according to one's nature. And you will be forced to act according to your nature. That he says to Arjuna, okay, you become a beggar, and you decide not to fight. Still, if you become a beggar and you hear that Yudhishthira Maharaj is in trouble, still you will come and fight anyway. Because it's your nature. So we have to act according to our nature. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada said it's an essential point of our philosophy to know your nature. And the spiritual master, it is his duty to engage the disciple according to his nature. That's an important quality of a spiritual master. He must have this ability to see in what modes his disciple is situated and give him a service from which he can work and serve Krishna. So that is a very important point to understand. Also, for authorities in our movement, temple president must have the same ability to see, to engage everyone according to his nature. That, like Jayananda Prabhu, he was an engineer, and Srila Prabhupada encouraged him, yes, you organized Ratha Yatra, you built a Ratha Yatra cart. And he did such a wonderful work. And you have also, we have our big project in Mayapur. And there are many artists engaged. And our architects, it's all according to their nature. And that is satisfying. If you are engaged according to your nature, you feel good. And your nature is also in your astrological chart. That yes, I studied my own chart, and I've in my stars it's very clear, because I have Saturn in Sagittarius in conjunction with Jupiter. Saturn in that place means renunciation, and Jupiter means I'm a teacher. I'm teaching renunciation. What's the real renunciation? It's Krishna consciousness. Teaching Krishna consciousness. And in my 5th house, I have Mercury in his own house. Means very intelligent. So I'm using my intelligence for preaching Krishna consciousness. And that's the only thing I'm good in. All the other things don't work out anyway. But that's my nature. So, and I feel satisfied with it. So we have to look in ourselves also. What is my nature? What am I doing? What am I good in? That and how can I use that in Krishna's service? That so it's a very important point you make. For I try to give some insight in that. I don't know if that's helpful. Something else? Yes.
Once I had a talk with a professor, and he complained that the Bhagavad Gita is such a violent book, and that it proclaims war, like the Muslims proclaim war, and you should kill, and thus he said it's a terrible book to distribute. So how would you give a short and quick answer to such a question?
Srila Prabhupada would say, and he answered in that sense, that can you stop violence in the world? Can you stop war? Even if you can stop all the wars and all the violence, people will not die anymore. So everyone has to die. That anyway. That so that is not the main point. The main point is to get out of this dying. Stop this dying. And Krishna is explaining how to stop this dying. And that's much more important. So that would be a short answer on that. So, but it's true. That's about violence, Bhagavad Gita. That but violence for the right cause. That like a surgeon is also using violence for the right cause, he conducts the operation. So violence has its utility, Srila Prabhupada said. And that utility must be understood. That those who are exploiting, these Kshatriyas were exploiting the material world, everyone. And that is just against, that is in itself a cause of violence for everyone. Because the duty of a Kshatriya is to make sure everyone is engaged in Krishna consciousness, and they were doing the opposite. So they were causing violence not only for themselves but others also by not giving them Krishna consciousness. So that this is a higher purpose. If you think you are this body, you cannot understand these things. That, yeah. Anyway, that's what I would say for what it is worth. Good, something else? Yeah.
Another example was with a left-wing extremist, and he said, our books, we're the greatest fascists because we have a caste system, and even if it goes according to the nature, still we're classifying people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that classification is still there. That in England I got a PhD, a doctorate, so I'm classified as a doctor. So that's a classification. If you call it Varnashram or whatever, it's the classification according to one's work. That one is a medical doctor, or one is a worker a laborer. These qualifications are naturally there in society. But these classifications, Srila Prabhupada said, these three modes, you divide it, you divide, you mix it and becomes 9 and then 92 and so on. So there are so many different natures. It's not just these 4. That, yes, in that sense, it's a natural classification in society. It's natural. You cannot avoid it. When you call it Varnashram or not, but Varnashram had a peculiarity to engage someone according to one's nature. And that is missing in our present society, that they endeavor to engage one really according to one's nature. And that, Anyway.
One could also say that, as just thought, that's also violence to not engage people according to the nature. Like if you let a professor harvest the field, it's a violence to the personality of who actually can do a different work, which is so to classify to, that's what it did, the Cultural Revolution. So to violently put doctors on the fields.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's it is true that if people are not engaged according to their nature, they will not be happy. That will be the result. That, Yes. But violence also, yeah, Srila Prabhupada speaks about that in many purports. In the Vedic system, a murderer was hanged, but it's a compassion. Then the person does not need to suffer in his next life. But this professor does not believe in the next life. That's a problem. But if you don't believe in the next life, that does not mean that it does not exist. That can prove that there is no next life. That they will not be successful. It's a mental concoction. They base their conclusions on mental concoctions. And if you are not answering their questions in the framework of what they think is the truth, what they see with their senses, then you are out. They don't accept. But yes, that it comes all down to the same point. Where does consciousness coming from? It comes from matter, they say. At a certain stage it develops. That's also a mental concoction. We have never seen consciousness coming from matter. If you have a dead body, let them bring conscious in it. Nobody has ever been successful. And it comes all down. It's the body concept of life. And then you make these terrible errors. And they present themselves as intelligence, but they don't know who they are. So, that's the basis of their mistake. But that they will not accept. Hare Krishna. Yep. Yeah.
Into two pieces, and both are surviving. So, what happened with the Jiva, or how could it be that some hypocrite or something what they created come to enlighten? Although they take it from living matter, but still it has to be how consciousness comes inside the Jiva.
Yeah, how consciousness comes inside the jiva. That the jiva is always conscious. Sometimes it's covered by material nature. But consciousness is always there. So, this subtle and gross body are a covering of our consciousness. That is a covering of our consciousness. That yeah. Avitram jnana metina jnana nityavarana. It's covering our intelligence, our consciousness. This subtle and this gross body. In original state, we are in full Krishna conscious. But that state, that our consciousness is now covered over. And that is this subtle and this gross body. So attaining liberation means getting rid of this subtle body. And then your consciousness is eternally revived. That's liberation. That Yeah, there are many souls in the worm. If they put it in two, then there is, Srila Prabhupada said, there is one soul in each part which has the control. But you have also different life forms with different souls inside, symbiotic life forms. Material nature is quite complicated. It's not always so simple to understand. Good. I don't know if that helps. I guess. Yes.
Referring to this question, it reminds me of a story of Srimad Bhagava from the, is it Indra who enters into the womb of a mother and cuts an emperor into several pieces. And then this story of the Bhagavatam also Prabhupada describes that immediately when this happens, each part can put into a...
Yeah, that was with Gandhari, who gave birth to a lump of flesh, which was then cut in 100 pieces and put in pots, and then the 100 sons of Duryodhana came from that. That's a good example. This is illustrating that. Thank you. Good. Good, thank you very much. Shantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
hat noch verschiedene Einstellungsebenen. Wir haben hier einmal Home, das ist das, was an die Lautsprecher rausgeht, das Ding, und dann das, was bei Leisen rausgeht, ist hier. Und das war hier der Kanal 1. Ja, das ist, wenn jemand nicht weiß, denkt, okay, ich beim Aufnehmen ist das aus. Aber lieber so lassen.
Home ist die Home-Einstellung und wenn man die zwei sind für Stream oder wie?
Genau.
Also egal, was ist die beiden? Oder?
Die sind beide gekoppelt.
Okay, ist gekoppelt.
Also eigentlich habe ich hier auf 1 habe ich alle Einstellungen gespeichert für Daily Greeting und Lecture. Das heißt, wenn das Ding nicht läuft, kannst du nochmal hier hingehen und abrufen sozusagen. Und damit man es in der Küche hat, muss der Kanal an sein.
So, ja, das weiß ich.
Und das ist eigentlich das Wichtigste, dass man das
Ich habe hier schon ein bisschen so rumgespielt gestern, weil das sogar.
und ab und zu.
Die Tage, weil das gestern und vorgestern, da war das auf jeden Fall an. Dann habe ich auch hier Home, das ist hier was alles gefunden. Und dann ist das jetzt alles hier so eingestellt. Aber trotzdem, also ich habe nur hier Eingang gehabt und hier auch keinen
War
Eingang.
gar kein Balken.
Doch, das war schon an, aber hat sich halt nichts bewegt. Das hätte ich schon wieder angemacht.
Es kann nur sein, dass der Atem halt nicht drinsteckt.
Hier,
Ja, genau, da steckt ab und zu nicht drin. Das ist der
Atem.
genau. Kopfhörer reinstecken, dann hörst du genau, was hier rauskommt.
Okay, das ist wissen.
Eigentlich haben wir immer den Kopfhörer drin gesteckt gelassen.
Haben wir Kopfhörer hier?
Ja, wir haben Kopfhörer hier und wir haben einen anderen dann hier hinten reingelegt.
Fragen, das
Genau, und dann gibt es halt den Funk 1 und Funk 2. Das ist hier halt Funk 1, Funk 2.
Okay, die sind schon drin.
Die sind schon drin, Funk 1, Funk 2, die muss man nur anmachen.
Okay.
Man muss auch halt beides ansetzen. Und dann Funk 1, Funk 1. Und ja, sollte Funk 2, aber wenn du es nicht brauchst oder wenn was ab und zu passiert ist, wenn es an ist und das ist auch aus, dann nimmt es über die Handystrahlen und andere Strahlen auch und macht dann kann man das halt ausmachen. Das kann auch ab und zu passieren.
Achso, falls was irgendwie mein Handy anhat, das ist
Oder irgendwas, was du ein bisschen nah mit dem Handy dann ab und zu nicht immer.
hier an und hier an.
Genau.
Was war das in beiden Leben? Was meinst du mit beiden Leben? Eben, welche Ebene?
Das habe ich ja gemeint, das war das aus und das Punkt. Aber das
muss beide an sein.
Genau.
Ja, sonst ist es ja nicht so.
Und hier machen wir den Kopfhörer ran und die kann ja einfach. Du musst
irgendwie auch die Kabel so festlegen, dass man das so
Ganz
Probleme nicht rausziehen kann.
Das war nicht so.
Ich muss nur noch öfters festbinden vielleicht. Ich muss man irgendwie so hier festbinden, links und links, dass halt wenn es reinmacht, dass es sich nur verstaubt und nicht wieder
Zurückfällt.
weil dann, ich glaube dann passiert es, weil dann ziehst du das halt so vor und
dann geht's raus.
dann das ist auch Funk 1 und 2, ne?
Das ist auch Funk 1, Funk 2, ja. Und da darf das, wenn das eines nicht an ist, darf das andere nicht an sein.
Okay, also die fahren auf die gleiche Verlängerung.
Genau, Funk 1 ist, wenn du Funk 1 Mikrofon anhast und Funk 1 das da, dann machst du, ja, das war letztens beim Klettern. Dann haben wir das andere Mikrofon nicht gefunden, irgendwo was versteckt. Wenn es den Atem nicht anerkennt, ab und zu der Computer, dann muss man das hoch, ja, kann man probieren, das auszustecken, den Atem, und wieder anzustecken.
Und wo ist der Hier hinten drin. Aber wie macht ihr den an? Wo macht ihr den an?
Dann wird man einmal für Dating Meeting machen.
Genau, ja, das machen eh die Nachrichten.
Hier. Auf Slate. Hier habe ich jetzt Dating Meeting normal und hier ist Vorstand.
Aha, okay, das sind zwei.
Zwei CD-Fächer hat.
Und die CDs sind hinten drin.
Ja.
Also man kann zwei CDs immer drin haben, sozusagen.
Ja.
Mhm.
Bring you to the stage of the ground and hide. Just the stage.
This is your volume?
And just shift, not to shift out a little.
Mach gleich stehen.
CD 1, CD 2. Hat's getan?
Ja.
Ja, jetzt kann man ausfahren.
Und bei einem kleinen Funkmikrofon, da gibt es hier, kann man drücken ab und zu hier minus 20 Dezibel, dann wird es halt viel leiser, zum Beispiel wenn man es an die Gitarre rantut, dieses kleine, das Lavalier-Mikrofon, da muss man mit draufdrücken, ansonsten wird da zu starkes Signal, kommt dann an.
Aber dann nimmst du auch die Mikrofone nicht. Was für ein Mikro machst du denn da ran? An der Gitarre zum Beispiel?
Doch, auch also die kleinen Mikrofone.
Schon dicke, oder was? Nee.
Nee, ja doch, das da. Das ist nur an diesem Headset dran geklebt oder angemacht.
Ja, dann macht man das Ding einfach halt ab.
Genau. Und dann die Gitarre rein.
Das kann man dann hier einstecken und dann.
Hast du das Headset?
Das
Achso, das benutzt du nur als Halterung praktisch.
Genau, ja.
Achso, das ist gar kein.
Das ist eigentlich, das Headset ist so ein Radiosender, da kannst du theoretisch an Frequenz einstellen und zu übersetzen, wenn ganz viele im Raum sind oder so.
Das haben sie früher gehabt in Gulukodam. Kannst du dich daran erinnern?
Weiß ich nicht.
Die haben diese Kabine ist glaube ich noch da. Da gab es so eine Glaskabine.
Ja.
Und da saßen da 3, 4, 5 Leute, alle mit Headsets. Und da war im Tempelraum so Kabel verteilt. In so kleine Kästen, wo man so Kopfhörer reinstecken konnte. Und auf jedem Kasten stand eine andere Sprache.
Ja.
Da wurde die Wechsel simultan in so 4, 5 Sprachen übersetzt.
Macht das Licht und so.
Nö, ich meine, hier gibt es Licht, aber ich brauche eigentlich nicht. Ich schau mal, wie ich das mache. Was man noch machen könnte, ist, um die Türe zuzumachen, muss man ein bisschen die Türe hier aufbläsen.
Achso, damit das hier, damit die Kabel hier rein können.
Ja, das
Also
ist
unten und.
was probiert man nochmal.
Also ich praktisch hier ein Ausschnitt.
Haben sich so viel verändert.
Gibt da wirklich auch ein Licht, oder?
Ja, das muss man anstecken. Also dieses Kabelchen und dieses Kabelchen, das muss halt. Dann machen wir oben hier so ein jetzt hast du was gemacht, aber das lässt sich ganz leicht dort machen. So, jetzt hängt das wenigstens.
Gibt doch von Thomas. Professionell.
Das ist das Einzige, was drauf rumsteht. Und ja.
Ja, das System ist, dass du da.
Ja, nein, stimmt. Jetzt, das ist das Problem, weil das ist das Problem von Thomas Govinda, weil er braucht das Laptop immer und deswegen hat er alles aufgemacht, um den Laptop immer rausnehmen zu können. Das muss er dann machen. Der hat alles schon verbaut und hat es noch aufgegeben.
Und der Kabel hier, der kommt von der
Die Masken soll ich dir zeigen?
Und Strom.